radiothon here in the studio, and we had a representative of Hope Mission. Now, of course, whenever you do a radiothon, it gives you the privilege of being able to promote a particular ministry or product. Well, in this case, I had the privilege of promoting and also as well working with Hope Mission. Now, Hope Mission is actually a ministry that was created way back in 1929 and works with the vulnerable and for those who need assistance in the province of Alberta. It could be Edmonton, it could be Wetaskiwin, could be Red Deer, or in Calgary. Now, the interesting thing about Hope Mission is that they provide meals. For example, in the city of Edmonton alone, they provide meals for 54 schools, and they distribute every single week to over 7,000 children, of course, meals. And it only costs $2.70 a day. And I thought to myself, wow, this is an incredible opportunity. Now, it was interesting that we raised in our radio stations, the different radio stations that we have, we were able to raise almost 70,000 meals. It was amazing. And the city that I live in, which is, of course, Edmonton, we raised 42,854 meals, which was incredible when you think about it. Almost $190,000 were written. So we were very, very excited to be able to do that. Now, the interesting fact that I want to bring out to you today is the fact that even we all have an opportunity to make an impact. We all have an opportunity to be able to touch people every single day. Now, one of the most interesting people of the last century was a lady called, of course, Mother Teresa. Now, Mother Teresa, of course, actually won a Nobel Prize for her, philanthropy and for her working with the vulnerable. And she was asked one time, how can you minister to somebody who, like a leper or someone less fortunate? And I love what she had to say. She says, I look at them as Jesus in his distressing disguise. And I thought, wow, that is a wonderful picture to look at people as someone who is in a distressing disguise. Understanding that, each and every single person is unique. There's nobody like you or like me. Now, there may be people who look like us. You could even be an identical twin, but that doesn't mean that you're the same person. In fact, we know that on a lower, on a subatomic level, or even, in our basic DNA, we're all different. Every one of us are uniquely different. I have the privilege of, from time to time, watching a program called The Forensic Files. And of course, in the Forensic Files, they use DNA. And with DNA, they are able to say, hey, you were at such a place doing such and such a thing. Every one of us has unique DNA. There's nobody that has the same DNA that you do have. Also, as well, no one has your eye print and no one has your fingerprint. There's 8.2 billion people on this planet, and yet not one of us are the same. It also means that each one of us are in a different position of life, a different place of life. Now, if we find ourselves in a distressing situation, we should, be praying. But also as well, when we find ourselves out of that place, let's remember how, we were elevated by others, because that's important. When I was talking about Hope Mission, their whole goal is to help people to get to a place where they're healthy and they're whole. And that's a really neat place to be. And that's my encouragement for you and I today. If we find ourselves, been able to overcome, because, you got to make a decision. The decision is, am I going to remain a victim or am I going to, become a victor? Walk in victory. Am I going to be a person who's always being overcome, or am I going to become an overcomer? Am I going to be conquered, or am I going to become a conqueror? Am I going to remain to be defeated, or am I going to be undefeated? It's a choice. It really is. And also being willing to receive help. And when you get out of that place, to be willing to help others, that is just an absolutely wonderful response. To understand, yeah, we find ourselves in places from time to time where it's not so good. But understand, change is inevitable. The things that we face are, chapters in our lives. It doesn't mean that is the entire story of our lives. I know, because I've been in some pretty dark places in my time. Of course, I've had the privilege of having divine help as well, but when I got out the other side, I realized that there was a reason. And once I recognized that reason, and also as well to take that experience and to be able to help others with that experience, has been absolutely marvelous. And that's what we need to do. When we get that hand up, someone comes and helps us. Let us in turn do the same. I'll give you a little story about that. I have a 1965 GMC truck. It's a classic truck. And one day, a couple of years ago, I was out taking my truck I took it to Costco, and they put gas in, and I got a bad bout of gout. And so I'm driving down the road, just came out of the Costco, and all of a sudden my truck quits. Well, of course, I'm sitting there in the middle of a busy, busy thoroughfare. And I'm wondering, okay, I'm trying to get my truck started. I got the hood popped up, and this fella pulls up there and he says, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, it looks like I've, something happened, like a bad bout of gas." So he basically stayed with me and helped me. And when we couldn't get it started, he hooked his tow rope onto me, pulled me off the thoroughfare, and then we worked on this particular truck for a period of time. Finally, we put some ethanol into it, and it started up, and he actually followed me home. And I went and said, "Can I give you some money?" He says, "No, just pay it forward." Well, the following 2 days later, this was on a Friday, on the Sunday, I'm coming home from church, and there's a guy with a 1966 F-150 classic truck, and he's on the side of the road. So I pull up and I say to him, "Is there something wrong?" He says, "Well, I can't get my truck started." I said, "Well, it sounds like a bad battery problem." So basically, I pulled up in front of him and we got him started, and he offered me money. I said, No. I said, I told him what happened to me, and I said, "You pay forward as well." So I had an opportunity to be able to help someone after someone had helped me. And that's basically what we need to do. We need to be looking for opportunities. And when someone helps us, pay forward. Take the time. You never know. I made a couple of new friends out of that experience. Someone helped me, and I was able to help someone else, and we made some friendships, and it was great. So my simple exhortation for you today: you may be going through a difficult time. Number one, realize this. Make a decision that you're not going to be a victim, that you're going to understand that this chapter of your life is not forever. And when you come out the other side, you're going to be more creative. You're going to be more resourceful. You're going to be experienced. You can't beat experience on certain situations. I'm not saying that every experience is good, but you got to look at the positive. And then when the opportunity comes, help somebody else. It was the fellow who started off the Salvation Army. His name was William Booth. And he was asked one time, "Okay, can you put the Salvation Army, what it does in one word?" And they said, "Sure, others." And that's really what it's all about. It's helping others, using our experiences as a stepping stone, and understanding that these experiences, they don't define us. They are strictly times and situations in our lives that make us stronger. They build character, and they are stepping stones to greater opportunities. That's my advice for you today. So If you like what you've been hearing and also as well viewing, please press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me today.